Welcome to Sygnus Skyline, where we explore the world of alternative investments, innovation, and leadership through the perspectives of the visionaries driving transformation. In our inaugural season, the Founders Table, we sit down with the Sygnus founders Berisford Grey, Dr. Ike Johnson, and Jason Morris to uncover the stories, insights, and vision that have shaped the firm's journey over the past decade. Pull up a chair and join us at the Founders Table. As three founders, how do you decide, how important is culture for you and for your team? And how do you decide, we're going to get into the 3I principles, but how important is culture for your team at Sygnus? Especially now that it's not just Jamaica, right? It's across the region.
We have this thing that says culture eats strategy for breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have looked in the Caribbean and we have seen many firms that have very good culture. We look internationally and kind of try to benchmark what are the things that make firms really great. And it boils down to the culture, and culture is the people. So we are very, very passionate about protecting that and trying to build that ourselves. And so when we first started, we had 7 people. And the 7 of us got into, including us 3, and we got into a room and decided that we want to kind of define the key ingredients of the culture, which of course, you have your vision, and then you have your values, right? And we took the entire, Saturday?
Yeah.
And went through 100 different vision, phrase, and then values, and then us together. It's not like Barry said this or Jason said that. We together, mostly driven by the other employees, came up with that idea, which we then, with the vision and the values, and then we decided that that's what we want. Going forward, everybody, when you come into orientation, you need to learn this because this is the key ingredient that holds everything together. So, I mean, by focusing that way, we now have, Puerto Rican firm with its own culture.
Right.
And you have the Jamaican and you have St. Lucian. But ultimately, it's the core values and the 3I's principle that pretty much create the singular ingredient for, okay, this is the culture that we want to build. So Barry spoke earlier about like interrogation. So that's one of the things that we want to build, where even if we are there or not there, people understand that if this person come with this idea, it behoves everyone else to interrogate the idea. If somebody comes up with a new idea to do something, no one should kind of try to kill it, because in the 3I's is innovation with an I. Same thing for integrity. Right? Independence in how we think. Independence mean, well, because we are not a subsidiary of a big bank, then we are free to always put the interests of clients first, without any conflicts of interest that say, well, if I do this, then the parent company is gonna say ABC. So we basically try to live that every single day, and to instill that right across all the 4 territories. So it's a work in progress, of course. But we are actively having identified the core legs of the stool, try to push that out and live them on a day-by-day basis.
And all of your team members are called
Sygnesians,
right?
From day one, we quoted that we don't want to call people employees.
So one of the things that we recognize whilst building Sygnus is that, a lot of firms set out to try build a high performance culture. We have gone through firms where, okay, you're doing high performance culture and you do have lot of training and so forth. But I think we have realized that building a culture that is aligned with the vision of the firm is very different. It's very different. And then how that thing live and breathe is also very different. And that happened because you put in either deliberately, and in our case, deliberately, rituals.
Yeah.
You have to have rituals around behavior, rituals around how you celebrate wins, rituals are how you deal with failures. And, for example, in Sygnus, we do a lot of things and we have a lot of challenges, but we never whine.
Yeah.
And it starts with the top. Like we have with us and our executive team, we have what I describe many times as a positive psychology, like a very, very strong will to always go forward, a strong will to succeed, regardless, for example, whatever going on in the Middle East, at the end of the day, we're going to do what we have to do this year to achieve our objective.
Yeah.
And we try to let that filter down through our teams. It will become more difficult as we get larger.
Right.
But again, if we have the deliberate rituals and strategy in place, then the ecosystem that we want will foster that type of culture. So it's very hard, actually, to build and be deliberate about building high performance culture.
Yeah.
And I think we recognize that.
Yeah. Awesome. So I know in our previous episode, we spoke, you use this word a lot, Beris, disruption and disruptors. How does one disrupt the market in the way that Sygnus has done since inception?
At the end of the day, when you talk about disruption, it ties back into our three principle, innovation. Innovation. And innovation is very difficult. 90% of what we do our people describe as innovative is really creative, right? During the life of Sygnus, we probably do one or two innovative things. And those things always create a huge bang. What we do in the market in Jamaica is innovative, even the languages that we use to describe what we're doing and so forth, right? To disrupt a system the way we have done and the way we will continue to do is to really understand the pain points. I'm sort of talking now in a more formal way, right? But the truth is when you're going through the process of ideation and trying to solve problems, it don't really come that way. It's very messy, right? But in a formal way, we're identifying the pain points and then go through a process of ideation to find solution to deal with it. And I can use an example. For example, let's use our credit fund, Sygnus Credit Investment. Before we ended up with the strategy around that, we had reframed that many times. We started out with the high yield fund. We started out with the loan fund. We started out with a pure, what you call a mezz fund. And we debated the name. We debate even the name, right? And then Jason went and researched what they call the private credit market in the US and come back and put those ideas in the pot and say, look, in the US, they have this subsector. So we then take that now and say, let's sort of mold that into the Caribbean space and how it solved the problem of accessibility to capital in the Caribbean, as well as provide our investors a fixed income type return. So, that's how you disrupt a market. You really have to spend time understanding the pain point that you're going to solve.
Yeah. Ike?
Yeah, I think when you're entering into an industry and, it's a mature industry, finance is a mature industry. And for you to create value and be a disruptor in the industry that we're in, it has to be a solution-oriented mindset. Because if you're not creating solutions to the problems that are there are the traditional places that your customers can walk into. If they don't have a problem to solve, they'll go to the traditional guys. If you're not solution oriented, then you're not going to be of value to them. So within Sygnus, we are really at the core of it, problem solvers. And I think that is why in the surveys that we do, perception of Sygnus in the marketplace, majority of people say Sygnus is innovative. And the reason why people perceive us like that is because we're solving the problems that they have. So I believe the main ingredient that led to us being so disruptive within this space is just our ability to provide solutions. And we built a culture around solution generation. So everybody within our firm right now is continuously solving a new problem. We typically don't get the same type of investment opportunities at Sygnus. Even credit, which you would think, credit is, it's a standard thing. No, every client that comes to us have a different dynamic that we have to come up with a solution to ensure that we can service that client's needs.
Jason, I know partnership is a big part of Sygnus's strategy as well. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that's so important?
You asked a question about disruption earlier, and partnership is actually part of the disruptive model that we have applied as a solution. The normal financial interaction between people who are in need of capital and those who have the capital is typically in the traditional market is like you're a number, right? You're not that important.
Relationship.
There's no relationship, right? While our business is built on just a few things. One, it's that relationship and partnership. So we are a partner with you, which means that we'll take the time to understand what your challenges are and then propose a solution that best fits you. So we'll customize the suit or the dress to fit you directly, right? And by doing that, it means that the next time you have a problem, you'll come back to us because the suit fits so well.
Right.
And you will also refer your friends and other business interests to say, I went over this firm and I got a suit that fits so perfect, because you want your friends and other business relationships to get the same exposure. So effectively, we are very, very, our business does not exist without partnership. So in our private credit business, more than 60% of the business that we do every year is from either repeat relationships or referrals from repeat relationships, right? Which is very unique
absolutely.
For us. So even during COVID, when pretty much, financial intermediation kind of came to a standstill, Sygnus made a lot of money during that year, and the private credit business made record profits during that period. Why? Because of the relationships that we had forged, and those relationships realized that the solution that we were providing, nobody else could provide it. So effectively, we provide speed or provide flexibility in a partnership. And that's basically how we disrupt the market, because effectively we saw this huge gap and we decided that, to disrupt the market, we are going to have to provide solution like Ike and Berry said, but we also have to do it with an institutional mindset, which means we have all the bells and whistles: risk management, compliance, the operations, the technology, the right people. And basically, that's the secret sauce to effectively how we disrupted the market, because our key differentiator is relationships, partnership.
Love that you all had a very different, not very different, it all ties back into what you define collectively as disruptors in the market.
Yeah.
When we were talking about teams and culture, Beris, you're talking a bit about high performance culture, right? to be the founders of a company like Sygnus, you must have some of your own high performance traits that you stick to on a daily basis. Like we heard about Jason and badminton. So I'd love to ask each of you, whether you have a morning routine or an evening routine, what does that look like for you on a day-to-day basis? That keeps you going, keeps you sharp and ready to work. Let's start with Jason.
Well, to be honest, I don't really have any routine like that. But once it's go time, it's go time.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not really a morning person or evening person or any type of... I don't fall into any of these, flavor of the month description. Save and accept that I kind of prioritize.
Yeah.
When certain deliverables have certain timelines by which they need to be met, then I get into go mode, and I always find a way. If it means all weekend or 24 hours, because I'm a researcher at heart.
Yeah.
My best time to work would be when nobody's around, right? And sometimes that meant that I stayed at work until 2 a.m. in the morning. I used to have keys for a building, right? So I do a little of that.
Is there anybody at Sygnus that's staying here until 2 a.m.?
People work late. Sometimes, yes. Of course. It's a financial firm. If you're not working late in a financial services firm, then what are you doing, right? But we also try to find a balance. So if you go and look like on my desk is not gonna be very neat, like I'm a neat freak and all of that, I'm kind of wing it until I know that 2 weeks time, okay, everything locked down and locked in, and I go. But that's just my personality.
Yeah. Varys, I see you chuckling over there. What?
No, I was just laughing because of what Jason said.
Do you have a routine or?
Yeah, a style.
Keeps your energy going?
No, I have a style. I normally like to start early in the morning. Yeah, I find that work best with me. And again, it's I evolve over the years. You know what I mean. At the moment, I think, because I have so many meetings, so many client meetings, etc., and I spend a significant amount of time with clients, right? And then I have to do other things within the firm. I like to start early. First part of the morning, I deal with a lot of either early morning meetings or responding to emails or issues or so forth. And then during the course of the day, I can spread my time out dealing with board and other senior things. But at the end of the day, what I try to do just as a part of my style is to really focus on the one or two things that will move the needle in the short term, especially move the needle in the short term, meaning whatever strategic goal we have for the next 12 months. I don't like to think beyond that when I talk about short term. And then I spend some time thinking about the more long-term stuff. So for example, I'll spend a lot of time making time to work with my people and culture, or if we have a new business line, I spend some time working with that person or a new area that I'm involved in. So that's sort of building, because we culture is big for us and we want to deliver on that on a long-term basis. So I spend time doing that. So that's sort of my routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ike?
Yeah, I'm worse though having a routine, to be honest. Well, one thing, I wake up pretty much the same time every single day.
What time is that?
It's about 5, or the worst case scenario 6, right, in the morning. And sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I won't be just looking up in the ceiling. I'm going to start to research something, and this new technology called AI, I just set up a deep research prompt and just leave it and go back to my bed. And when I wake up in the morning, I read through the result. And so for me, it's more of a lifestyle. It's really ingrained in my day-to-day activities. It's, for me, I'm never, not working and have a time for working, and no, it's it's just always continuous for me, and you just make it a part of your life. You have to have balance, yes. But sometimes when you working towards a particular objective, a particular goal within the firm, you have to ensure that your thought process is just continuous until you reach that point where you come to that solution and you can hand it over. So it's really chaotic. It's whatever the day brings to you.
Yes.
You just have to get it done. If you have to stay up all night, get up extra early, you just have to do what it takes.
All right. What do you respect about each other the most?
What I respect about each of my partners and my friends are their integrity. People are, these are people I can trust, and that's important for me. Yeah, I trust both of them. I also respect their commitment, their commitment to whatever we agree. And as I said, you might have disagreement, there could be disagreement, but once we align, then everybody's committed. So I respect that, because I'm like that. I can disagree with you, but if I said, okay, I'm going to support you, then I will give you that support. But before getting there, we can, have disagreement. I respect that. And I also respect the fact that as individuals, we are all pretty humble. We are coming from backgrounds and have similar, let's say, characteristics around humility and just the way we think about life and people. That's important. That's at the basic level, where you need to just have that humility and think about every human in a very nice and, let's say, pleasant way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jason, what do you respect most about
so-
your co-founders?
I mean, let me do it singularly.
Yes.
And start with Ike, which is pure and simple, just his amazing scope for being visionary in how he thinks. Right? So, this building that we're in, One Belmont, the vision to actually conceptualize this on paper, work through all the difficulties in a very extremely difficult time during COVID when the world was upside down, and also helping Sygnus to be the first to actually build this type of office, not just in Jamaica, but you could say across the Caribbean region, right? That visionary ability, every day I'm amazed by the fact that he has this broad, which if you try to compare me and him, like I'm on the opposite end of the scale, right? So that's for Ike, and then Beres obviously is just being like a CEO. So I'm not a like CEO type person, but Beres is, I admire the fact that if you put him in front of an audience or to represent Sygnus, he can represent as the CEO, and there's no, you don't have to guess. So those are two key traits, along with all the other things that Beres and I have said. But those two stand out to me, simply because I know that I don't have those skills, right?
I remember Ike drawing the Sygnus building on a piece of paper with the Sygnus at the top and talking about this landmark building. And you hear it, and it's kind of like, okay, that sounds nice. But to be actually sitting in this building in the Sygnus Skyline, it's pretty amazing.
Yes. So Jason is by far one of the smartest guys I know. He don't think so. No. But let me tell you something. Jason has his brain is really second to none. Like and a lot of people hear Jason say, no man, explain that to me. Go back over it and explain it to me. But it's not that Jason don't know, Jason want to make sure that the way you communicate it to him is actually the way that he's processed it in his brain. And once you get over that hurdle with Jason, and Jason go and pull together everything, do his research and so forth, you're going to get a grand solution from Jason, right? So, I respect his intellectual capability and also his ability to then communicate, because what we do is not simply, and I definitely can't explain it like the way Jason does. So Jason, even at the AGMs and so forth, when Jason is talking about SCI and what we're doing in Puerto Rico, and I do all the complex structuring, and I can't explain it in a way that is simple, right? But Jason is able to communicate now to the wider shareholder base, and for them, they understand exactly what our strategy is in Puerto Rico and why it is important in his structure and so forth. So his ability to assimilate information and then be able now to communicate it is like really second to none. And that's what I respect most about Jason. Beris is CEO extraordinaire, right? One time when I heard Beris at one of the business at breakfast that we keep some time ago, and I there listening to Beris articulating Sygnus and just everything, and for like a second or for 10 seconds or so, I actually forgot that I was a part of Sygnus. Like, I was saying to myself, man, I want to work at this place. This is a great, oh no, I'm already here. But Beris, if I'm to compare him to the entertainment industry, Beris would be like a DJ Khaled, making sure that he promote the ethos of Sygnus and what we're able to achieve and where we want to go and so forth. So Beris is really a great CEO material, and we are able to promote what we do in a very effective way, and also ensure that the firm is run in a particular way that we can continue, we can be sustainable. Because at the end of the day, we at Sygnus, we've achieved great things, but at the end of the day, we are managing money on behalf of pensioners, the beneficiaries of these pension funds. The investor out there, they have $1,000 or $20,000, and they decide that they're going to invest in Sygnus. So we have a huge responsibility. So, for my partners to trust me when I'm undertaking these grand endeavors, I really admire that about them.
Amazing. So as we wrap up this episode, and we're going to move into celebrating this major milestone of 10 years, what's your celebratory drink, Jason?
Pellegrino water.
Full stop.
Yeah.
I haven't made up my mind as yet. But it's not going to be water. I guarantee you that.
Everybody knows my drinking. I don't even have to say it, but, I'm going to have Hennessy VSOP. Normally, I have it with a splash of cranberry juice, but, doctor say I need to ease up off the sugar, so I'll have it with some soda water, some Pellegrino.
All right. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about this major milestone of 10 years. What's the vision? What we're looking at for the next 10 years, and more with Sygnus. Thanks for tuning in to Sygnus Skyline. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our YouTube channel for exclusive highlights. Until next time.